This is like the most weirdly like not aesthetic setting, and I look like a fucking grandma dressed like this with my glasses on, but we gotta talk about this. Now, first of all, I'm in a capsule, a silent booth capsule, whatever it's called, and I really hope that no one can hear me because what I'm gonna talk about is, it's a little bit of a different take. I'm not farting, I'm just moving my chair. On something, and I've never even spoken about the narcissistic relationship, all of that stuff, because of the fear, right? Now on another level, I've never spoken about all of this stuff because my views on all of that are completely different to what I see online. But I figured, fuck it, I'm just gonna talk about it because, like I told you in other videos, I just can't do this shit anymore. It just all has to come out. I was processing with my sponsor. I'm back in AA now. I'll be 4 years sober in a few weeks, but I did take a break from AA. And I know anonymity, blah, blah, blah. This is my choice to share. But anyways, getting sidetracked. I was processing with my AA sponsor yesterday that I actually really don't resent him. I really don't. I really genuinely only have love for him. And it might sound crazy and it might sound very like Aubrey Marcus type of vibes, but I've really worked so hard on myself since we've broken up almost 4 years ago. And I'm able to just see through that person, through the mask of the psychopath or the sociopath. Yes, what he did, some of the things he did to me was completely fucked up. But like, I wasn't a saint either. And I'm not taking his defense, but like, it always takes two to tango, right? And I know that me and my addictions, the very drunk and very crazy version of me is not a healthy person at all. She's really toxic. And in this like loop of emails that we had when we had broken up, he was trying to pass that message to me that I'm pretty much really fucked up, but it wasn't in that sense of pointing the finger at me. Back then, I really felt like he expressed to me his hurt, what I did wrong to him, which of course, you know, yes, I understand the dynamic, the empath, narcissist, I totally understand the dynamic, trust me, because I have been studying this for 4 years nonstop. That's a lie, on and off. But I just have been realizing more and more that I definitely wasn't healthy. And of course I was toxic as fuck, because to attract that type of a person, there has to be something in me that's as equally dark. Now, the thing with the narcissist empath dynamic, I'm talking about like in the context of addictions, in the context of active addiction. Please hear me out when I'm talking about my story. It's in the context of me being in active addiction, and my active addictions back then was drugs, alcohol, sex, love, like all of the package. I'm very aware that it might be different for narc empath on another level, but for me in the context of addictions, this is it. And my sponsor was basically telling me that we're, first of all, really good at attracting them, and we're equally bad because we manipulate in our way. And that's why when I found the term covert narcissist, I was like, shit, like I think I am one, but I'm not. It's my shadow side in addictions. Fuck yeah, she's a covert narcissist. And so does that mean that I have those traits? We all have those traits of narcissism in us. They're called narcissistic traits, right? It's a spectrum. There's the empath to the narcissistic traits. It doesn't mean that I have narcissistic personality disorder. It means that I have maybe a little bit more of those traits when I'm in active addiction, when I'm not sober, and when I'm like full on in my shadows. And when am I in active addiction? It's not only when I'm drinking or drugging. It's also when I'm just acting out on the other addictions like traveling, sugar, relationships, all of that stuff. And landing in this relationship, this new relationship now, it's almost going to be a year. A lot of this stuff has come up because I realized, I was like, shit, I'm really toxic. I can be really toxic. And so that's like how the whole ADHD spiral came out, because my initial consultation to the therapist was to get myself a diagnosis for being a narcissist. That was how it started. And then it just spiraled into the whole ADHD thing, the empath. Like when I told her my story, she was like, no, she was like, you just learned narcissistic traits as a survival mechanism. And then we went into the whole addiction thing, this is just so many layers to unpack and untangle, but it's really, really, really interesting. But my point of this video was to say that now that I got sober and that I have recovered my mind, body, and soul, that I'm still recovering pieces and parts of all of that, I genuinely just want what's best for him. Of course, there was a part of me that was hoping that he would change and that I would change him and that we'd get back together and live happily ever after. Of course. But that's just not the reality, and I don't know if he's done this super deep work on him. And also, I'm in a new relationship, and also I think the damage from the past is too much. This is so complex, but my point is just that I needed to start talking about how, honestly, narcissistic personality disorder, psychopaths, sociopaths, they're not bad people. Do they do bad things? Yes, 110%. Do addicts do bad things? Fuck. Are addicts bad people? No. All of these people, they're just deeply, deeply hurt. They're deeply traumatized. They have deep-rooted issues that came from somewhere, and it most likely came from childhood, right? Me, like I said, in my active addiction, I am not a nice person to be around. I am toxic as fuck. I am fucking just like reckless. I'm careless. I'm fun for a while, temporarily, but you don't want to be in a relationship with me. You don't want to be a friend with. And I've had friends drop me because they're like, girl, what the fuck? This is just not possible. And they didn't want to be part of this cycle of addiction, sobriety, recovery, all of that, because it's hard. It's hard for me as an addict, but I also know how hard it is for the people around me. And that's why there are programs and support groups like Al-Anon and all of this different stuff, because, like, honestly, I have some friends now that are dating people that are addicts, that have addiction issues, and like I said, addiction can be all different types of stuff, right? Gaming, process addictions, porn, like all of that stuff, and it's not easy to be with an addict. I guess my message is just compassion. I know it sounds crazy, but have compassion for the narcissist. Have compassion for the version of you that you were when you dated him. Have compassion for yourself if you're dating one. Have compassion for the sociopath. Have compassion for the psychopath, because yes, and then we can go into the whole soul karma stuff. That's maybe another video. That's another thing. But I refuse to think that they're inherently bad people, because I also saw sides of him that I'm not saying he's a good person either, but I just saw sides of him that were really true. And it's not my place to judge any human being, even a rapist, even someone who committed murder and stuff like that. And trust me, I've had my fair share of like sexual abuse, and that is a whole other story as well. Do I have compassion for all these men that have abused me? I've learned to forgive them, to forgive myself. Compassion is a big word, but forgiveness for sure. And then eventually understanding that these people are just so sick and so traumatized and so fucked up that they end up doing those things to other people, right? Sick people hurt people. That's the saying. I'm not saying go out there, forgive your narc ex, like have compassion for him. I'm not saying all of that, but I am saying that it will give you a lot of freedom if you do the work that leads you to being there. And it doesn't mean allowing them back into your life and not having boundaries. No, that's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying that for your own sake, for your own fucking healing, for your own dignity, for your own peace of mind, it really helps to heal and to get so fucking healed that you're able to see that it's just their fucking traumatized inner child talking. With boundaries, obviously, with the distance and all of that stuff and the blocking, yes. But it's just a reframe and just like perspective. I don't know if this was meant to find someone and if this helped in any way, and if I get a lot of hate for this, I understand that maybe just humanity is not ready for this type of conversation yet, which is fine. But Aubrey Marcus just keeps on popping up in my head, and it's like, honestly, if it weren't for him and that whole situation with Vailana, and I don't even want to talk about their story because it's none of my business, but just understanding that authenticity, genuinity, rawness, like all of that stuff, and just bringing back the humanity to everything, even though there were inhumane things that were done, especially in this relationship with this guy. I don't know if I can go into detail about some of this stuff, but there's pedophilic stuff, right? I don't know how I'm alive in terms of all the trauma that I've been through, but I believe that it's for a reason, and one of the reasons is definitely to share some of it with you. And trust me, if I can go through like that amount of trauma, which is the tip of the iceberg, because my whole life prior to meeting him was just one trauma after another anyways, But I feel like if all of that accumulated, and if I also dated this archetype of a man, it's really to help other women hopefully not even get into a relationship with that, but if it's too late, then at least recover from that, because I promise you recovery is possible from that. Getting into another relationship is possible from that, just like how recovering from addictions is 110% possible. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from perfect. I'm not a saint, but recovering your mind, body, and soul from anything, from any addiction, from any person, any place, any trauma is 110% possible. When you look at it that way also. It takes work. It's maybe not going to happen overnight, but it's your choice on how soon you want to start that work. That was my little spiel. Follow, subscribe, whatever YouTubers say. And thank you for listening. And honestly, I just hope that this resonated. And if it didn't, well, too bad. Thanks for listening.